Welcome dear friends, the beat of this song awakens even the dead. It was created 4 decades ago, but instead of going out of fashion, it continues to appear constantly in films, series, and advertisements worldwide. Discover the curious way a wedding DJ and a secretary managed to launch an unforgettable classic, as well as the tricky play they made on their true singer. This is the memory of the Funky Town song Lifting. Stephen Greenberg was born in 1950 in St. Paul, Minnesota, in the USA. From a very young age, he demonstrated a great taste for music and skill in playing instruments. As a teenager, Stephen's life revolved around music. He played with several local bands, collected records, and worked as a DJ at weddings. Stephen's dream was to be a famous singer or a music mogul. He worked as a music promoter for some small groups but found many closed doors and few opportunities. The problem, according to him, was that he lived in a very boring city where nothing relevant ever happened, and the few opportunities to be someone were occupied by the children of important people or those with influence. There was no place for a young person of humble origin, and this annoyed him immensely, as it was a major obstacle to fulfilling his dream. The young man dreamed of the big stages, concert tours, and famous hotels where the big band stayed. He believed that to be truly famous in the music industry, he had to move to New York. However, he didn't have the resources to move to New York, which he believed was the most wonderful place to live, and this idea never left him. As Stephen wanted to be famous in music, he spent a long time writing lyrics and making melodies, hoping to come up with something that would help him fulfill his dream. One boring night, frustrated about having to live in a futureless town and always thinking about moving to New York, he began to write a song about traveling to that idyllic city where he could be himself, exploit his abilities, have fun, and be rich and famous. He didn't use the words, New York, in the lyrics because they didn't lend themselves to rhyme, but instead, he called it Funky Town, the city of rhythm, and thus was born one of the most famous songs in history. Greenberg had presented a song called Rocket to the Casablanca Records record company, and the executives called him and told him they wanted to bet on him and that he should make some other songs. Stephen told them that he almost had a song called Funky Town ready and that he believed it would be a big hit. They didn't pay much attention to him, but he went ahead. Stephen had a lyric, but he didn't have anyone to sing it. He wanted to be famous and a millionaire at all costs, so instead of singing it himself, he thought of choosing the best voice he could find and accompanying himself with the best studio musicians to increase the chances of success. He auditioned to find a female voice, tried dozens of young women, but none seemed outstanding. One of these girls told him that he should call Cynthia Johnson, a local singer who played with a band called Flight Time but was working as a police department secretary due to a lack of money. He got the girl's number and called her for an audition. Cynthia, in addition to having a great voice, was a very attractive woman. In fact, she had won the Miss Black Minnesota Beauty contest. She came to the studio and recorded the song on a musical track that Stephen had already prepared. Greenberg was delighted with Cynthia's voice. She wasn't convinced. In an interview in 2005, the singer recalled that historic recording. After singing it, she thought there was no way that song could become famous. She looked at Stephen, and he said, "This is a hit." She thought he was crazy. Stephen Greenberg played several of the instruments, including the distinctive synth riff of the song. He also came up with the voice that asks throughout the song, "Won't you take me?" In 1983, an unusual effect became the precursor to the auto-tune that reggaeton artists now overuse, and that characterizes today's music lacking in soul. However, Stephen already had the song ready, but they didn't even have a name for the musical project. So, he took a dictionary, randomly put his finger on a word, and chose the name for the group, the lip sync, which means lip synchronization. But since he found that this name was already registered by another group, he changed it to live sync, which is pronounced practically the same. The song was recorded in November 1979, and in January 1980, it began to spread its great popularity. On March 29, 1980, the song entered the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 list, and on May 31, it reached number 1, remaining at the top for 4 weeks until June 21. The super danceable and catchy song was unstoppable. It played in almost every disco in the world and, in addition to the U.S., reached the top spot in 28 countries, including Spain, the Netherlands, Australia, Norway, Belgium, Austria, Canada, and France. In the UK, it reached the number 2 position, positioning it as one of the most successful disco songs in history, despite the genre's decline in 1980. The first version of the song lasted 4 minutes. However, it was extended to 7 minutes and 50 seconds due to its great popularity in discos. Steven Greenberg had achieved his dream. The single was awarded double platinum for its high sales, and since he was the author and producer of the work, the money began to flow in large quantities. Cynthia Johnson, the singer of the song, also received good money for the song, but she had to face difficult and disappointing moments. The first was when Lifting's first album came out, titled "Ma Tone Out." On the cover, her photograph did not appear, but instead, 2 white women were shown kissing, though their faces were of cartoon type. This did not sit well with the vocalist, who soon after faced another disappointment and enormous surprise. She realized that 2 music videos had been recorded for the song, Funky Town, but they had not asked her to appear in any of them, and instead, other women were lip-syncing or playback of her voice. In one of the videos, 3 black women appeared dancing and lip-syncing, but in the other, which was the most widely disseminated in Europe and became more famous worldwide over the years, a white woman named Debbie Jenner, of British origin, appeared. Today, most people remember this blonde when they hear the famous song. This was clearly an act of racism in a campaign promoted by the record company, with the consent of Steven Greenberg, and with the aim of increasing profits. They chose a woman with a more attractive face to be the band's image, while Cynthia was erased from the visual promotional materials of the lip sync. The singer complained but did not achieve much. The second album also came out with a white face on the cover but managed to get a photo of themselves on the inside cover of the album, and ultimately, Cynthia managed to appear on the cover of the third album. However, these works were not commercially successful and did not represent significant profits. In a recent interview, the singer remembered that experience and felt malicious about how strangers were put in a video instead of the lead vocalist and how they were not considered for the album cover. Instead, they opted for white faces on the album cover, which was a slap in the face on many levels because she had never been in a musical experience that did not involve inclusion. She is still not sure who gave the green light for the videos, but she knows that she was never asked for her opinion on the matter. Live Sync released a total of 4 albums, but they reached fame and worldwide recognition with only 1 hit. Although this was truly extraordinary, they could not repeat the formula in 1986. Funky Town was covered by the Australian band Pseudo Echo, who changed the synthesizers for electric guitars and recorded it as a rock song. The result was really good, and their version reached number 6 on the Billboard chart and remained at number 1 for 7 weeks in Australia. Funky Town is one of those songs that cannot be forgotten and continues to move people's hearts, causing everyone to stop what they are doing and listen to its melody. For this reason, it has become one of the most used songs in movies, video games, TV series, and advertising campaigns worldwide. Its creator, Steven Greenberg, has indicated that he has licensed the song for at least 500 occasions, and new requests continue to appear every day due to the massive use of the song. Even to this day, Steven continues to receive significant income. Leave us a comment with your opinion on this classic. Please, subscribe to our channel and we'll see you soon with another video.